Top of the morning to you, my YouTube pandemic pals. It is your buttery-voiced host, HefTV, coming at you with another news story. And tonight, again, is another one that's going to hit a little bit close to home for me because I work in food during this whole problem time that we got going on right now, which I know everybody is not enjoying. I understand. Tempers are high. I mean, just morale, I think, all around is low. So we here at HefTV are going to kind of do our part to bring you guys a little bit of entertainment. And here's something I think maybe some of you will enjoy as much as I do. Without further ado, let us roll that sweet-ass intro, and we'll get right back to this. Any time now. There we go. Alright guys, welcome back. And today the article we're going to be going over comes from MSN.com. And it's entitled, "You Shouldn't Be Wearing Gloves to Go Grocery Shopping." This is going to be a fun one. You see this a lot. If you've gone out to stores, you're going to see it. Kind of question the validity of the gloves and how much that is versus just paranoia. Let's kind of get into this a little bit and read this article, shall we? Luckily, I was able to learn how to read this morning before I went to work, so I'm able to bring this to you fine folk in your quarantine time of need. And again, guys, if you're digging what I'm doing, always appreciated but never necessary. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment in the section down below, yada yada. Let's go forward. There's a lot of anxiety about grocery shopping these days, and one very visible manifestation of it is the number of people in the aisles wearing gloves. Rubber gloves, dishwashing gloves, regular winter gloves. And I've seen all of those, actually. The winter gloves are the funniest. Because even though it's New York, it's not the coldest right now, and seeing winter gloves is just kind of off-putting. So here we go. The caption actually here is very interesting underneath this picture. And what it says is, why wearing gloves to the supermarket doesn't help you avoid the coronavirus. You don't need them, and few people know how to properly remove them, which is true. And it sounds stupid, but there is an actual proper way, and anybody in the medical field could tell you this, there is a proper procedure for removing latex gloves as to not contaminate the rest of your hands. True thing. I'm not making this shit up. I actually witnessed people earlier this week wearing plastic bags on their hands. I haven't seen that yet, says microbiologist Kelly Reynolds, PhD, Director of the Environment, Exposure Science and Risk Assessment Center at the University of Arizona. That, again, I have not seen that yet. I would probably laugh if I saw that, albeit just out of ridiculousness and not out of, like, disrespecting people's paranoia. That's a fine line to walk. Does wearing gloves make grocery shopping safer? Now we're getting to the meat of the story here. First of all, grocery shopping, if you observe the current novel coronavirus safety recommendations, which granted not a lot of fucking people are, which is pretty off-putting, and again, you're seeing an influx. I've had several people in the past week be like, yeah, I just came up from the city, and I'm like, again, get the fuck away from me. If you observe the current novel coronavirus safety recommendations, isn't as risky as, it's a typo, isn't as risky as some parts of the internet have made it out to be, which could be said about a myriad of things during this whole pandemic, is you gotta filter your information. Second, more importantly, it could be causing a lot more harm than good, explains Reynolds. There are a number of issues. Gloves are like hands when it comes to spreading viruses, maybe even worse. This novel coronavirus doesn't enter the body through your hands, so you don't need any kind of barrier there. If you touch a contaminated surface with gloves and touch something else, you're as likely to spread it as you are if you touch things with your bare hands, maybe even more likely. The adhesive properties of viruses differ among viruses. It's possible the coronavirus could adhere to the latex gloves better than it could adhere to your own skin, says Reynolds, and hands can be effectively washed and used again right away. So, first of all, I just want to point out something, and it kind of struck me as funny, as I had a woman in the store last week at some point. She had the mask on, she had gloves on, she was touching stuff, and then she was touching her glove to her mask. And I'm like, I really wish people realized how ridiculous they look. I had somebody in the other day that had one glove on, one glove off. One guy had like a full painter's mask on when he came in, which made it incredibly impossible to discern what the hell he was saying. And then he left and came back in without the mask on. And I'm like, hey, he didn't have gloves on either. So I'm like, well, what was the point of that? I digress. Gloves can give you a false sense of security, and it's easy to let your guard down on hand washing when you use gloves, Reynolds says. Plus, wearing them one errand to another just spreads germs and the novel coronavirus to all those places. Whereas bare hands would get a squirt of hand sanitizer in between or stop at a sink for a good old-fashioned soap and water wash. Fair enough. Don't think I need to go any further on that one. And again, it sounds silly. Here's my thing. Very few people take gloves off right. And when you don't take gloves off properly, you just get everything that was all over the gloves, all over yourself, and everything else. Taking gloves off right isn't a trivial thing, Reynolds says. We've done studies observing healthcare workers and how they remove the gloves, and about 30% do it wrong, and they've been trained. So if you think about that, you think about your ordinary civilian who has probably limited to, if any, training in that fashion, who just willy-nilly either A, don't wear gloves, or again, B, don't correctly know how to take them off. So, with that in mind, here is, for anybody that doesn't know how to do it, how to remove rubber gloves right. In a nutshell, you want to pinch one glove near the wrist and pull it over your hand so it ends up inside out. Then hold that in your gloved hand and carefully slip the fingers off your bare hand into the top of the other glove. Let it turn inside out and cover the balled up other glove. Better yet, check out this step-by-step CDC infographic. We're not going to go into that. Dispose of them. If you're not disposing of them properly, you're just potentially contaminating more surfaces and putting yourself at a much higher risk, Reynolds says. Don't skip hand washing after you take them off, even if you remove them correctly. So for anybody that doesn't know, that is exactly how to do that. So let's go into another part of this. So why is it standard procedure for healthcare workers to wear gloves but not the average person? And that's another thing where these days, if you look around, it's probably about on an even keel with people. I see an awful lot of civilians that are not medical workers wearing gloves. You'll see people with masks wearing gloves. You'll see people wearing gloves but no masks. You know, it's very interesting. But here's the other thing, too, is healthcare workers wear gloves for short periods of time while they're working directly with patients. If you're one of them, Reynolds explains, when you have gloves on, it's for patient service. You're not walking around the room with the gloves on, touching everything, like most people are doing in stores. Again, you can't get it like that, but that notwithstanding. After serving the patient, you leave the gloves in the room, wash your hands, and leave the room to serve the next patient without dragging those germs with you. It's a completely different activity than if you're just going to the grocery store. So for trips to the supermarket, it's the same refrain. Go ungloved, get what you need, and wash your hands. And again, if you are one of those people that unfortunately needs to be shown how to do that in the year 2020, Anno Domini, you got problems. I can't even help you. HefTV as a collective cannot help you folks out. So that's kind of where we're at with gloves. Don't need them. If they make you feel better, cool. You're not taking them off correctly anyway. Maybe you are after this video. I don't know. I am no epidemiologist. I'm barely even a butcher. I'm barely even a person. But guys, with that in mind, Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope everybody is staying safe and staying healthy and washing your hands and doing whatever you got to do. Hopefully there are people that are being able to still have some kind of economic income during these tough times. If you're not, my heart goes out to you guys. Again, thank you. It won't last forever. I know it's tough now. Things will get better. On behalf of everybody here at HefTV, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, stay in there. Because by staying in there, you're doing good things for somebody else each day. If everybody stayed in there and did one good thing for somebody else each day, this world wouldn't be such a bad place. I don't know. Still working on this. Weird times we're in. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time on HefTV. And remember, wash your fucking hands.